J-E-T-S, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic, Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
What is going on, everyone? I see in the chat you guys said you cannot hear me. Let me know if this is better. I don't know what happened there, but I hope this is better, and I hope you can hear me now. But what I was saying, Haason Reddick, the stress, it is over. It has happened. He will be reporting to Florham Park tomorrow morning, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Now, he'll report, but the question now, I think, becomes, when is Reddick going to get on the field? Because, we've seen the videos on Twitter. I'm sure most of you have. He is working out, but, he missed all of OTAs. He missed all of minicamp. He missed all of training camp. He missed the whole preseason, and he's missed 6 games, actually, and 7 weeks, actually, of practice. So now, he'll report on Monday, but when does he get on the field is the big question. But bottom line, this move bolsters the Jets' pass rush. It was getting to the point, guys, last week, I had a strong feeling that Reddick was not going to play at all this season. I really did. I had Connor Hughes of SNY on the show, and we were talking, and we both didn't think Haason Reddick was going to play this season. So I think it's a massive sigh of relief. This is a huge move for the team. They go out, they get it done at a record of 2-4, which you could say isn't ideal to bring Reddick in. In the case that maybe he'll help bolster the roster, bring more energy to the pass rush. But they make this move right ahead Sunday night's game tonight against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think it's a really good move. I was not on board of trading him. I know there were the talks of trading him, but at best, what were we going to get for him? A holding out Haason Reddick. At best, what are you going to acquire? A 4th-round pick, a 5th-round pick, conditional 5th, something like that. At that point, I said I'd rather just keep Reddick, hold it out. Maybe something happens, and the Jets gave Rosenhaus and Reddick they gave him a few days ago. They allowed Joe Douglas allowed Rosenhaus and Reddick to seek a trade. However, no, that doesn't happen. Haason Reddick's not gone. He's now a New York Jet officially. We said he was a New York Jet on our breaking news stream all the way back in April. If you're watching me back in April, I really do, appreciate all the support sticking with me for this long. But we said it back in our breaking news stream in April. Haason Reddick's a New York Jet. Now it's official. Agreed on contractual terms. He will report on Monday. Everyone smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you'd like to call into the show, it is the pinned comment in the chat. I would love to hear what you guys have to say on this move. And we're gonna say what's up to everyone in the chat. So, throw your thoughts in the chat, guys. Throw your questions for tonight's game. Throw your thoughts on the Reddick move. Anything. Love to stick on here for a couple more minutes. NY Jets superfan is surprised. Wow, yep. NY Jets superfan, I will say this. This was not the move I was expecting on game day. I was expecting it, maybe, Jets, hopefully this doesn't happen, but if the Jets lost tonight, their season's probably, really, really, it sounds like my evaluation of where the Jets are right now, 2-4, I don't think they'll win the AFC East. I do think they'll sneak into the playoffs. If they lose tonight, playoff chances aren't looking good. So I'm surprised it came, ahead of falling to 2-5. It's really interesting. Gator's hyped for the move. Love to see it. Gator, appreciate all the support. Alan, look at you, kiddo. Alan, we do appreciate it. And yep, Rich, surprised like all of us. Haason Reddick agrees on terms with the Jets. We all know what this team is getting in Haason Reddick. Over, past 4 seasons, over double-digit sacks, over 11 sacks the past 4 seasons. 2022 finished 4th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, recorded 16 sacks this season. That season, I will say, not to alarm you guys, but it was a bit of a turnoff last year. Reddick did not have any sacks during the wild card game, but the last 4 regular season games, I believe it was. So, I don't expect him to go out. Let's say I honestly, at this point, I don't even know a proper timetable as to when he would play. I guess the absolute, I'd have to say the Halloween game, really, because he'll report tomorrow. He'll get that whole week of practice in. I can't see them. Maybe just because the Patriots are just a weak team, they let him go out there against the Patriots next week. But I cannot. I really think it's probably going to be the Texans on Halloween where we first see Reddick. And then in terms of sack numbers, if you just look at that, I don't think he'll get double-digit sacks that quick. You have the you know, it really depends how. I'm not gonna say I don't think I strongly don't think that. It's just a matter of how hot is he gonna get right when it starts. Because if he wants double-digit sacks, he has to come bursting right out of the gate. Whatever, if he starts against if he makes his first appearance against New England or Houston, he's gonna have to come out right out of the gate if he wants double-digit sacks. But he's a very, very talented player. Now, this pass rush for the New York Jets, guys, is going to become, possibly a bit of a nightmare for offensive lines. Because you look, Will McDonald, he's second in the league in sacks this season with 7.5, trailing only Aiden Hutchinson of the Detroit Lions, who suffered, just a brutal season-ending injury last Sunday. Now you bring someone in on Reddick off the left side, McDonald off the right side. I mean, that's just a great combination, especially from what we've seen this season. That is just like I said, it's going to become a nightmare for offensive lines. I'm telling you right now. It's just I'm happy the Jets made this move. Like I said, I didn't think Reddick was going to play at all this season, but the Jets, they proved me wrong. Reddick's a New York Jet. Everyone, throw in your your thoughts on the move. Smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We appreciate all the support. If you'd like to become a member of the channel, it's the link in the description. We do greatly appreciate super chats. If you want to send a super chat, bottom right corner of the screen, it is the $sign. But additionally, also reported by Adam Schefter, the Jets have waived Reddick's. They've okay, here we go. Let me add this to the screen. Okay, here we go. Comp update. The Jets have agreed to waive over $12 million fines in return for Haason Reddick, honoring his contract for the remainder of the season, and reporting got work. Yeah, so in terms of the fines, they waived the vast majority, basically what he is saying. They're waiving they're waiving the vast majority of the fines. What they can't do, they can't waive all the fines, because some of the fines, I remember reading up on this about 2 weeks or so when they were really getting in the trenches, and it was like he's not going to play at all this season. And it said you can waive some of the fines, but not all of them could be waived. So he's still going to be fined some money. But I really think that's a nice thing to do by Woody Johnson and the Jets, because they could have been like, no, you're signing this contract. You have nowhere to go. It doesn't matter if we don't waive your fines. You're still going to agree on this contract. They could have done that. But no, they instead decided to waive the fines, over $12 million. And he reports before week 10 now. And week 10 was a really, really interesting week for his contract, because he did not report by week 10. His contract told to next season. He would have been unable to become a free agent this past offseason, which means he'd be stuck with the Jets all of next year as well. And then if he didn't report by week 13, he just couldn't play, period, at all this season. That's in the CBA. But they waive over $12 million in fines. Let's see if there's any other updates here. We're still trying to find out. I see your comment, Brendan. The contract numbers, we know it's short term. Look, as Adam Schefter said, the Jets and Reddick have agreed on an adjusted contract. And then Drew Rosenhaus said, we will continue to work towards a long-term extension with the Jets. Reddick just hired Rosenhaus a couple, I think it was last week, last Monday night, he was officially there at the Bills game, trying to work something out with Douglas and Woody Johnson. We're still trying to find that out, Brendan. We're still scrolling for updates here on the show. Schefter also reported, guys, this is something really interesting. I'm going to pull up on the screen. Never mind, I lost it for some reason, but actually, I'll try to pull this back up. But Woody Johnson, Schefter's reporting, was heavily involved in working out this contract. And Woody Johnson and I'm sure you guys think the same thing, at least most of you guys. He's never been someone, especially since owning the Jets, who's had a reputation of being a hands-on owner per se. But now he makes the move with the Salah firing. And now he's heavily involved in the Reddick edition. So wow, he's really, I don't know what it is. He's probably spent so much money on this team. He wants to have a say in it, but it's good to see that he's getting more involved. I do like that, but wow. Before we get any further, a $20 super chat from our guy, Alan. Jets. There we go. Alan, we really do appreciate the super chat. Here's the headline. Woody trumps JD to bring Reddick in before former and future president comes to Heinz Field tonight. Well, I don't really want to get into politics here, Alan, but I really do appreciate the $20 super chat. Wow, $20. A lot of money. Really, really do appreciate it. But yeah, huge game tonight. Reddick won't be there. Alan, how about this? You follow it up. When will Reddick play? You mentioned, headlining at Heinz Field tonight. When will Reddick play? When do you think he makes his debut? But like I said, Alan, wow, that's huge. I really, really do appreciate the $20 super chat. Back to what I was saying, though. Woody, he's getting more and more involved, and that's something I like to see. I know some people aren't too big of fans of the hands-on owners, and Alan says Halloween. Wow. Okay, so you think he'll play next week after a week of practice? I think he'll play against the Patriots. I don't know if a week of practice is enough, but he is called into the show. Let's have him voice his opinion. Alan joining the show. Alan, really appreciate the $20 super chat.
Hey, Connor, what's going on? What I learned over the last week.
Alan.
Can you hear me?
Let's see.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm
on the phone, sorry.
I got you now.
Okay. What I learned over the last couple of days is that Joe Douglas has no power anymore. None. Because Aaron Rodgers brought in Devontae Adams and
Yes.
Woody Johnson brought in Haason Reddick.
And fired Salah.
Fired Salah. So to me, Joe Douglas is a glorified puppet GM nowadays. Honestly, okay. I think Reddick plays Halloween night against the Texans. I might see him get a couple of snaps next Sunday in Foxborough, but to me, he's full go in a couple of weeks. But again, what frustrates me the most is moves like Adams and moves like Reddick should have been made weeks ago. And what worries me is tonight, without Reddick and with a really poor defensive line and an offensive line against Highsmith and Watt, I worry that they fall to 2-5 and this goes all for naught. That's the one thing that worries me the most.
So two quick questions, Alan.
Sure.
With the Woody thing, I said, I'm sure you were listening. I pulled up the tweet and I said he's becoming, you mentioned this. You mentioned, Joe Douglas being a glorified puppet.
He is.
Your words. Woody's becoming more and more of a hands-on owner over these past few weeks, and he's normally someone who hasn't been hands-on in his career of owning the New York Jets. Are you a fan of that, or do you like the old Woody where he kind of has hands off and lets the GM run the show?
I will tell you this. Woody has been hearing it from all his billionaire friends all over the world. He's tired of the losing. He's tired of the jokes. I also think this is a final gift to the Jet fan before he leaves and hands over the reins to his brother in the next couple of weeks. Again, I don't want to get political, but he goes into the Trump administration in a few weeks and Chris takes over. But again, I think the bottom line is I think Woody has been hearing the jokes about this franchise for years. And I think he got fed up, honestly. And I don't think he has a lot of faith with the people up top. So he's like, you know what? I'll do it myself.
Now, do you think this Reddick move is going to be, you mentioned it's come too late in the season. Do you think this is something where they're trying to save the season and it's too little, too late?
The last two moves are absolute desperation moves. Absolutely. Again, they're 2-4. They lost to 3 teams in a row. To me, that they are more talented than. So the move on Tuesday to get Adams and the move this morning to bring in Reddick are absolute desperate moves for this organization. No question about it. Again, if they were 4-2 or 5-1, I don't think either of these moves are made. Or I think they have more power with Reddick and they could wait a little bit. They're 2-4. Their season is on the line. They needed to bring in new reinforcements, and that's exactly what they did.
Alan, any final thoughts?
I still think they lose tonight.
Then do they make the playoffs, in your opinion?
The
'Cause then they
AFC
can only
is so
lose 2
weak. I
more.
don't think they make the playoffs. No, I know.
So
I
do
want,
the Bills win the
honestly,
division?
what frustrates me is both of these moves should have been made week. At least the Reddick move should have never happened. Should have been
Yeah,
signed.
that should have been made in April, the day they
Absolutely.
traded for him.
I think they fall at 2-5 tonight, and you never know, they might sneak into the playoffs at 9-8. But again, tonight is do or die. I still don't believe they have the horses to win tonight, especially on both lines. I think they'll struggle protecting A-Rod against Watt and Highsmith. And again, if I'm Pittsburgh, I know they're starting Wilson. A lot of Najee Harris and Warren tonight. If I were the Steelers against the Jets, but Connor, you are a star. You are better than all the other bums on Jet podcasts. So continue up the great work, okay, man.
Alan, really appreciate the support.
No problem, man.
Today. Hopefully the Jets, bring home a victory. It happens. Jets hopefully improve to 3-4 on the year. I will say this, Alan. If the Jets forget the Minnesota and Buffalo game, if the Jets sneak past the Broncos, it could be in the ugliest fashion possible. They could have won 11-9, 10-9. They could have won 6-3. I wouldn't have cared. At the time, I would have been like, that's a disgusting win. But a win's a win. They just win that game. We're in a completely different stance right now. Completely different stance. And then you can even, there are so many things you can add up and say, there is no reason the Jets should not be a 5-1 team right now. There's no reason you can sit and explain to me why the Jets shouldn't be a 5-1 team right now. Okay, I'll go week by week. Denver Broncos. Jets missed field goal. Period. Week 5, God, just terrible start and an offensive miscommunication with Mike Williams. Week 6, last week against the Bills, an offensive miscommunication yet again with Mike Williams and a missed field goal. You see where I'm going, guys? It's the same theme week in and week out, and I am so tired of watching it. Hopefully, something changes here. A culture change with Jeff Ulbrich gets implemented ahead of tonight's game. Everyone smash that like button. Make sure you the channel. Really do appreciate it. Over 100 of you guys watching on all platforms. Only 18 likes on YouTube. So make sure you smash that like button and you are subscribed to the channel. We'll keep it going here for a couple more minutes. Submit your questions in the chat. Really appreciate all the support here on a breaking news stream, game day, a Sunday. Little less, we're about 11 hours and 40 minutes, 11 hours and 41 minutes, away from Sunday Night Football here. Jets versus Steelers. Matt O'Leary and I, of course, be back on the pregame show around 6, I believe it is, 6:15, something like that. Catch that on this channel. Catch that on Matt O'Leary's channel. Make sure you are subscribed to both of our channels at Matt O'Leary NY, of course, at NY Flight Jets Talk. And like I said, we'll go here for a couple more minutes. So get your final words in. Submit your final questions. We will be monitoring Twitter for the rest of the show to see, any more news here. But the latest news, the latest update we have here is that Woody Johnson played a massive role in this signing, and I think that's a good thing to see. And I think Alan made a good point. Here's another one. Haason Reddick is the first player in a decade to hold out past 1 week of the regular season and then receive an adjusted contract. I will say I really don't understand this because the whole motive, at least when he was with Dandy and CAA Sports, the whole motive was we want a multi-year deal in the range of $25 to $28 million per year, not an adjusted contract. If they just work something out, I mean, this could have worked in an adjusted contract, could have been worked out, heck, the day they traded for him on April 1st. An adjusted contract could have been worked out the day they traded for him on April 1st, but no, it doesn't happen. We wait this long, and now the Jets have dug themselves into such deep of a hole. I agree with Alan. I believe it is a desperation move. And Greg, off topic before we get back into it, Greg says Sherwood and Quincy need to fly to the ball tonight. Yeah, I will say Quincy was getting bullied last game, especially in pass coverage. Sherwood's looked great all year, but they really need to step up tonight. I feel like they've really kind of picked up the slack from Mosley, who did return from injury, but hasn't done much. Back to Reddick. It's an adjusted deal. If we knew Reddick, if we knew this was going to be able to get done, this could have been done on April 1st. April 1st was the day the New York Jets traded for Haason Reddick. It's just fascinating to me that they agree on the same thing we've been talking about since April. It's really interesting to me. And also a lot of it, CAA Sports, Tory Dandy, reportedly they got rid of Reddick. And one of the reports that came out of that is Dandy and Douglas worked out a deal that would get Reddick to report to camp. It was not a multi-year extension. It was another one of these adjusted deals. It was one of those adjusted deals. And Reddick didn't want to play on that deal. Reddick simply didn't want to play on that deal, and that's one of the main reasons why he hasn't been here since training camp, because of that report and that situation. I mean, this could have been done so long ago, especially since it's an adjusted deal. It's not like it's some huge multi-year deal. It's not like the Daniil Hunter type deal, 2 for $49, something like that. It's not. It's an adjusted contract that gets him through the rest of the season. And Drew Rosenhaus did say he wasn't gonna. Reddick didn't hire him to be his agent, not to play for the Jets this season. That's another thing that Rosenhaus said. So Rosenhaus, he's known to get deals done. He does that just here. Haason Reddick. Now we'll report to Florham Park, New Jersey tomorrow. Everyone smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We do have a super chat here by Chef Kevin. Submit your final questions here before we wrap up. Chef Kevin coming in with a $2 super chat. Chef, we do appreciate all the support here on this breaking news stream. Salute, Connor. Are you confident we can stop the run? Kevin, I'll say this. The Jets have showed me no confidence in that run-stuffing aspect of their defense, but Najee Harris and Jalen Warren don't particularly blow me away. I think the biggest key for the Jets and their run defense is to unlock that final component, and that final component for me is Quinnen Williams. He's been invisible all season long. Now I think it is time. He must make a jump. He must make a jump tonight. I mean, I'll pull up his numbers here. He has looked, terrible. We'll look at his PFF numbers here. Let's see what he's recorded thus far on the season. 2 sacks, 3 assists, 9 solo tackles. His run defense, which he's supposed to be known for, he's supposed to be that, big run-stuffing defensive tackle, 53.7 run-stuffing grade. So, not great. I think the Jets have to do that. Javon Kinlaw better step up. I mean, we saw 3 penalties on the same possession last game. He was fined, actually, after the game for one of his unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for talking back to a referee, but it's just crazy. It's the same story week in and week out, and it's not like the Jets are giving this up to star running backs. Heck, the Jets gave up, I don't even know how many rushing yards, a boatload to Ray Davis and Ty Johnson. Josh Allen accounted for, a few of those yards, but Ray Davis and Ty Johnson, the Jets, they were just running all over the Jets. And we saw it week 1, Jordan Mason. It's the same story every week. I'm sick and tired of it. If this team wants to win games, they need to stop the run. Kinlaw better turn it around. Quinnen Williams better just please do something. And then Lecky Fotu, He's supposed to be this run-stuffing defensive tackle. His numbers against the run are quite frankly terrible. I don't know how he built that reputation. Now fans are relying on him. It's just an absolute mess, an utter disaster. I would like to see some, on the outside maybe stopping the run. Quincy's been great against the run all year. Sherwood has been great against the run, but I really need that interior of the defensive line to step up. Kevin, we do appreciate the super chat. Everyone submit your final questions in the chat. We are going to wrap up here on a breaking news stream shortly. Make sure you smash that like button. You are subscribed to the channels. Like I said, please submit your final questions in the chat. We have some comments here. Greg, Jets need to force fumbles and get interceptions. Greg, it sure does feel like that because there are points in the game where it's like the Jets, especially the run defense, is the main reason for that. They'll just march down the field and it's like, please just, turn the ball over, get a turnover. We need just a shift of momentum. We need, this team to get the ball back. And there has been points like that. I really need the defense to step up today. I think that's the key because the offense is going to have a fine time tonight. I just think my concern is the defense and stopping Najee Harris and Jalen Warren because, Najee Harris, I don't think I need to tell you guys this, but Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, if you just name the big picture, those two names don't really draw too much attention. But Mike Tomlin, he's such a, schematic genius. He's such a great NFL head coach. The way he's able to utilize those two is in such a special way to the point where it's catching defenses off guard. And I think that's what's really going to hurt the Jets tonight. But everyone, save these questions for my pregame show tonight with Matt O'Leary. And, I'll get one more here from Greg. Kinlaw is horrible and leaky, fartable, play good. It's Kinlaw, I will say this. I really don't think he's a defensive tackle, too, in this league. There were expectations for that. Clearly hasn't lived up to it. His run-stuffing ability hasn't looked good. But bottom line, Kinlaw just needs to step up. Both Kinlaw and Quinnen Williams need to step up. But everyone, really appreciate all the support. We have 120 of you watching here across all platforms. Smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We will be back on the pregame show tonight with Matt O'Leary around 6:15, 6:30. Actually, 6:15, not 6:15, 6:30. You guys will be able to call into the show and you show your support, all of that. Really appreciated. Submit your questions in the chat on that show. That's when we really get into the nitty-gritty of the game. So everyone, please tune in to the chat. But that'll do it for me. Haason Reddick and the New York Jets have agreed on contractual terms. Just hit the 30-minute mark here on our breaking news stream. Connor Long signing off. JTS Jets, Jets, Jets.